This presentation will cover my business continuity plan for a hypothetical company called IntegraQuest. For my presentation, I'll be giving a brief overview of the main points of my business continuity plan that I developed for IntegraQuest based on the information provided by the company. The main points of my plan that will be discussed include the business continuity plan policy statement developed for IntegraQuest, the business impact analysis conducted on IntegraQuest, the business continuity strategies designed for IntegraQuest, the disaster contingency and recovery plans designed for IntegraQuest, and the business continuity plan testing and training designed for IntegraQuest, which will then be followed by my references. According to the NIST 800-34 guidelines, a business continuity plan policy statement outlines the main requirements and objectives of the plan being developed. Included in the BCP policy statement for IntegraQuest is the purpose and scope of the plan, the objectives of the plan, and the members of the business continuity team for the plan. The purpose of the business continuity plan policy statement can be seen in this slide. It is the purpose of this policy to ensure the protection and continuity of IntegraQuest business functions and associated processes. This also entails resuming business functions as soon as possible in the event of a disaster to within reasonable times. IntegraQuest will continually review and, if necessary, revise or update this business continuity plan, which will then be made available to all members of the organization. The scope of this policy incorporates all offices and members of the organization. This slide shows a table from the business continuity plan developed for IntegraQuest, which outlines the scope of the business continuity plan. All three office locations, their function, and number of personnel are included in the table. The table on this slide outlines the objectives stated by the business continuity plan policy and a brief description of each objective. The main objectives include identifying major risk to assets, developing contingency plans, training employees, and testing business continuity plans. In this slide, an extract is taken from the table containing all the members of the business continuity management team for IntegraQuest. The position title, name, responsibilities, job title, and contact details are provided for each member. The NIST 800-34 guidelines outlines the importance of the business impact analysis, which is used to identify the critical business functions for IntegraQuest, the threats facing these critical business functions, the probability of these threats occurring, the impact of these threats, and the level of risk each threat presents. During the business impact analysis, 16 critical business functions were identified and were categorized as external business functions, which are services that are conducted outside of the business, internal business functions, which are services that are conducted inside the business, and supporting business functions, which are services that help support the internal and external business functions. The threats facing these critical business functions are then identified and their impact is determined. This slide shows one of the tables in the BCP plan outlining the financial cost of the identified cybersecurity threats for IntegraQuest. The cost is broken down over business disruption, information loss, revenue loss, and equipment damage. This breakdown of cost for each threat was used in a study conducted by Accenture Security and is repeated for every threat identified. A total cost is then calculated, which indicates the financial impact if an identified threat occurs. The likelihood of the threat occurring is combined with the level of impact to determine a risk score, which shows the criticality of the threat. This is accomplished using a risk matrix, which can be seen in the image here. The table on this slide shows the overall risk assessment for each of the cybersecurity threats identified. It includes the name of the risk, the probability of it occurring, the level of impact, the estimated cost, and the risk score calculated from the risk matrix table as seen in the previous slide. The business continuity strategy outlines what IntegraQuest can do to mitigate the impact of a risk or prevent it from occurring. A strategy was designed for each risk identified during the business impact analysis. This slide shows a business continuity strategy designed for IntegraQuest to help mitigate and avoid a malware infection. A list of activities and descriptions are provided which can be implemented by IntegraQuest to mitigate the impact of a risk or prevent it from occurring. An essential part of any business continuity plan is a disaster contingency and recovery plan, which outlines what an organization's response should be in the event that a disaster has occurred. The DCRP outlines what role each member of the organization should do in the event of a disaster, what actions to take in order to recover from disaster, and the time it takes to recover fully. In this slide, a sample DCRP for malware developed for IntegraQuest can be seen, which outlines the business threat and risk score. The roles and responsibilities during the incident are also outlined. Still working with the DCRP for malware, this slide shows a table that contains the actions should be followed in the event that an instance such as a computer system being infected with malware occurs. The final part of the DCRP for malware outlines the potential failure scenario, the estimated time needed to resume services, the estimated time for full recovery, and the cost of the recovery plan implemented. To ensure the BCP plan is tested and the staff are trained to use it, the following activities can be performed by IntegraQuest, such as wargaming or training days. These are my references used for the presentation, and thank you for listening.